Hi everyone, welcome to this video. So this is going to be my birthday Q&A. A couple videos back I asked for questions because I wanted to film a Q&A on my birthday. So it is November 18th on a Thursday that I'm filming this, and that is my birthday. So you're not going to see this today, probably Sunday, but yeah, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who wished me happy birthday and asked a question. I just really appreciate it. It makes the day more special. So yeah, I'm filming this before my class, so I do need to get it done quickly so that I can head out. But I'm gonna do this a little differently because it was kind of shorter notice. I didn't have time to gather all the questions in like a document and sort them by like categories. So I'm just gonna go through all the comments. I will say your username if you asked a question, and then just answer all of your questions. So there's not really going to be an order to this. I'm sorry if that makes it kind of annoying, but I wanted to be able to share your usernames this time because I didn't last time. I do have one other Q&A that I've done, and I'll link it down below. I'm okay with repeating questions. If there's a question that like I definitely know I have an answer to in another video, I'll link the video, but I'll try to answer all of your questions here because why not? So yeah, I'm not sure how long this is going to be. It just depends how long I take to answer the questions. So the first question is from Liz Little. Thank you for all of your comments on my videos. I always see them and I appreciate it. Her question is, what was your favorite book when you were a little girl? So I did answer this in my last Q&A, but for the most part, my favorite books were animal books. So I read Animal Arc a lot. I read any kind of pony or horse book. And then I also loved The Babysitter's Club. So for a while, I think this is when I was like 10. This is my earliest favorite book memory. It's called The Perfect Pony by someone, and I used to have it. Is it on this shelf somewhere? It's hard to find books when they're all backwards, you know? Oh, yes, here it is. Okay, The Perfect Pony by Michelle Bates. I have not read this, you know, in over 10 years, so I should probably give it a reread and see if I still love it. But yeah, this was my favorite book back in the day when I was little. Okay, the next question is from Sebastian, and one of his questions is, what is your best memory from your birthday? On my 19th birthday, it's when I was living away from home. I was in university and I was living with 3 other girls. And for my 19th birthday, they threw me a surprise party, and I truly had no idea. Like, it was the one and only time I've had a surprise party, and I actually was surprised when I walked into the house and everyone was there. I could not believe it, and it was so special. My roommates treated me so well that day, and I will always remember it. So yeah, that is my best memory. Another one of his questions was your favorite subject in school. I really liked school, so I think I liked all subjects pretty much evenly except science. I really didn't like science. I'm not a science person. But, and then it changed year to year. Like, probably my first, like in grade 8, my favorite class was probably French. Like, I loved learning French in high school. But then, like, in the later years, social studies / history was definitely my favorite. But then I did really like English too, because I love grammar. So that's what my minors are in. I have a minor in English and history because I just love both those subjects. And then his last question is, what do you enjoy more, a touching book or a funny book? That's a good question because enjoyment, like, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say I enjoy touching books. I just like find a lot of meaning in them, and they're just like more significant. So, and yet I love reading funny books. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick funny books. I need some lightheartedness in my life, you know? So as much as I love touching books, like probably if life was like super happy all the time, I would read touching books more often, but I need books to like lift my spirits, you know? So I'd say a funny book at this point. Okay, a question from Charlene. She asks, who is your favorite new author of the year? For sure, Tammy Gray. I've read a lot of good new authors to me this year, but Tammy Gray takes the cake. Like, I've read like five books of hers all in this year when I first discovered her. The first book I read by her was My Hope Next Door, and then ever since then I've been hooked, and I slowly want to read all of her books that she has out. So there are a lot of authors I could say for this because I've discovered so many great ones, but Tammy Gray is for sure the best. Okay, question from Melanie. She said, how did you come to know Jesus? So I was born into a Christian home, and my mom homeschooled us for a lot of years, and so she incorporated memorizing scripture and just learning about Jesus into her daily lessons with us. So she was really the one who introduced me to Jesus, and I did share this in my other Q&A, but I don't know how old I was. I was probably 6 or 7. I just remember being in our playroom, and I was sitting and looking out the window, and I remember asking God into my heart. So that, I guess, was my first time, but ever since then I've like slowly been getting to know him. But it started at a very young age. I'm so blessed. My mom is a really important spiritual leader to me, and I love her. So the next question that she asked was, how are you seeking him today that has changed since then? Yeah, lots has changed. So in more recent years, Jesus has become so special to me and so personal to me. Like, I could literally cry talking about this. For a lot of years, I found it very hard to break through my mental doubt that I could be talking to an invisible God and he actually hears me. Like, I knew without a doubt that he was real, but I also felt like, how could he be real enough that he'd actually show himself to me? Like, I just struggled with the personal connection. And then just, over and over again, he would reveal himself to me in different ways, and I'd be like, there's no way I could have made that up, or that can't be a coincidence. Like, it has to be Jesus. And I really find that I connect with him in so many ways, like through worship music. That's a big one that I connect through. Prayer and reading the Bible and journaling. Journaling is really important for me. It's my way to get my thoughts out and then write my prayers out and just lay it all down. That's kind of my way of laying it at his feet and laying my burdens down. So I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah. And obviously seeking him is hard sometimes, just because it just is so easy to think that he's not listening, but he really has showed me that he is, and that he's faithful like that. And there's just so many things going against us when we're trying to seek God, and just being aware of that and not giving up has been important for me too. So yeah, there you go. Okay, I'm not sure how to say your name. Morella, maybe? She asks, where do you hope to be in 5 years? 5 years. So I'm 28 today. So in 5 years I'll be 33, which is really weird to think about. I'm still in my 20s. It's okay. I'm really weird with age. I don't know why. I've always been weird with age. Maybe it's because I'm the oldest, but I'm either always around people that are way younger than me or way older than me that are parents, and so I find it hard to find singles in my age group, hence why I'm single. But okay, in 5 years, when I'm 33, okay, truly I hope that I'm married within 5 years, but I literally can't guarantee that. So I do hope that I'm married, though. I hope that I have found a career that is fulfilling and that I want to stay in, and I hope I'm still doing YouTube. I don't know, I've already been doing it 5 years, so another 5, sure. Weird to think about, but I'm not gonna stop reading, so unless YouTube dies, I think I'll keep making videos. So there's that. She did ask another one too. If you could only have 3 things on your life bucket list, what would they be? Ooh, on my life bucket list. Well, okay, get married. Visit Israel and all of the biblical places in the Middle East and grow to become a prayer warrior. I love prayer, and yet I don't do it very much, but I feel like it's a gifting of mine that I just, not necessarily gifting, just like I really feel like that's my role in a situation that requires prayer. I'm not necessarily someone to like be the leader or be at the front line like fighting whatever is going on like spiritually, but I will absolutely be praying on the sidelines, and I believe that's just as important. So I would like to grow in that and make it become more natural for me to just pray at all times. Okay, Amy, you ask, why would you mind sharing more specifics about why teaching was not right for you? Yeah, so it's definitely a weird situation because also in my last Q&A, I talked about how I felt like I was called to be a teacher. Like I had a calling on my life to be a teacher. And within the same year, I left teaching. So kind of weird. The way I can explain it and how I've come to terms with it, because it was really hard. It was the hardest decision I've ever had to make for myself, but I was so anxious. Like my mental health was really bad, and I shared a little bit of it, and you might have been able to tell in some of my videos in the spring. From March to May, those were some bad months for me mentally, and it was because of my job. And so when I realized that, I was just like, I am no longer happy here. I no longer feel like I'm making a difference, and this is also negatively impacting my life. And trust me, I went through every single possibility, like maybe it's just the year, maybe it's COVID, maybe it's whatever, but it was kind of the third year in a row. Like I've been a teacher for 3 years. Every year I had a bad year, and of course there's like good days, but overall I struggled. And I've come to realize that callings can change, and I do believe I was called to be a teacher for those years, but I don't feel that anymore. My passion has changed, and it's not for the classroom. I still love education, and I'm still pursuing jobs within kind of the education world, but not a classroom, and I feel like that's the right move for me. I feel like as soon as I made the decision to leave teaching, like in the classroom, I felt so free, and really God had to tell me. Like there was one night where I was crying out to him because I was so anxious and I didn't know what to do, and like I wanted to leave, but I was like, what if God doesn't want me to leave? And I refused to leave without the peace of God coming with me, like without his yes. And I know without a doubt that he spoke to me and said, you can leave teaching and I will still be with you. And so I took him up on it, and I applied to a Christian university, and that's what I'm doing now. So as you probably know, I'm not an extrovert, so being a teacher is really hard as an introvert, and kids these days are just more and more rambunctious, and I totally understand. I'm not knocking kids or whatever. It's just I am not the kind of person to deal with it well. My classroom management was terrible. I was really bad with discipline. I'm not a disciplinarian, and you kind of need to be as a teacher, or you're gonna have an experience similar to mine. I don't know how people do it, but I was so drained every single day, and it just was not healthy for me. It was, yeah. So as much as I did have dreams for myself within the career, I've let those go because the dreams kind of meant like more money and more like prestige, and I really was like, those things do not matter. Like, who I am as a person, my mental health, my relationship with Jesus, that's what matters. And all of those things were going downhill because of my job. And so no calling should get in the way of that. Yeah, so long answer, but I did want to explain. So I didn't want to outright say like, I left my job and whatever. Like, I just said, I'm taking a break and I'm going to school, but really I'm done teaching in a classroom. That's the truth. So I say that, and I also know that God can completely redeem something, and maybe I'll end up in the classroom again. Like, I cannot imagine it, but I also couldn't imagine leaving a while ago. So God can do anything, and I will follow him. So maybe I will end up in the classroom again, but for now I don't see it happening, and I feel really at peace with that. So that is my answer for that. Okay, Celestria asked some questions. She asked, what's your favorite children's book? Right now, so I already shared my favorite book from childhood, but my favorite children's book, it's tough, children's or middle grade. I don't know if I have a favorite children's book. Probably my favorite middle grade is, I think it's on this shelf. No. Oh, okay, yeah. I recommended this for middle grade March last year. It's Shadow Spinner by Susan Fletcher. This is such a good book. It follows, so it's like set in the Middle East. It's a 101 Nights retelling, but through a little girl's perspective, and it's so great. So this little girl is really good at telling stories. She has like a deformed foot, so she basically can't work. She lives with her aunt and uncle. And one day she's in the market with them, and she ends up telling a story to a group of kids, and the sister of the queen hears the story and is like, ooh, and she tells the queen about her, and so then they get her to go to the palace. She tells the story to the queen, and the queen tells it to the king because she needs more stories to like keep the king happy, because it's, you know, the 100 or 1001 night story. So yeah, anyway, so you follow this little girl, and you do get to hear some of the stories that she tells, and they're so good. Like, they're not boring, you know? Some of the, you know, little stories that are in books are like really boring and I skip them, but not in this book. So yeah, this would definitely be my favorite one. Then she asks, what's your favorite video you've filmed? Ooh. Well, okay, so I did answer this in my other Q&A, so I will give a different answer. Okay, so I just went and looked at some of my videos. I really enjoyed, there's a reading vlog that I made, I forget, it must have been in July. So it has a really long name. It's Christian Fiction, French, My Canadian Accent, Starbucks, and BTS. So it's a reading vlog. And that reading vlog was like the first time that I tried to do a week-long like film every day. And it just was like a fun week because of the things I was up to, and I was really goofy, and I honestly go back and watch it sometimes just to laugh at myself. And so that is a favorite video that I filmed. So I'll link it down below if you want to see it. I had a lot of fun making that video. Okay, she asked another question. If you had to choose a fictional book character to marry, who would you choose? Yes, I've thought about this. So because he's fresh in my mind, I'm gonna say this character. I've said a different character before, but I will say this character this time. Okay, so the lead guy in My Hope Next Door, his name is Asher. He is really nice. Yeah, honestly, that's the kind of guy I want to marry. A guy who is real, who loves the Lord, is like committed to his faith. That's like first priority. Who's also kind of handy, you know, likes to work outside, like that, and someone who like actually cares about people, and really listens and isn't so like, I don't know, I want someone who's grounded. So Asher is that, and yeah, I would say I would want to marry him. Oh, so she asked, what is your current favorite Bible verse and why? Good question. I'm gonna go get my Bible. It is so hard to pick, man. I'm looking through my journal. How do I pick one? Okay, I'm gonna go like super current, okay? So, I have been praying about a lot of stuff, and okay, let me just get to it. So I've also been reading the NIV version of the Bible on the Bible app lately, and I've been really loving it. I haven't read the NIV in a long time. I read the NLT the most, but I just like the translation of NIV lately. So the verse that I found while I was reading, so this verse has been actually truly helpful. Like I think of it whenever I need to. So it's 2 Corinthians 10:4-5. I'll try to put it on the screen. I don't know if I've said this before, but I can't figure out how to make words on the screen like centered, and then like when I do it, it just becomes one long line across. I don't know why. Someone help me. I'm still learning how to use iMovie, I guess. But I'll definitely type it down below in the description. So yeah, it's 2 Corinthians 10:4-5. It says, "The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ." So I love this because, so I read This Present Darkness recently, and it just got me thinking a lot about the spiritual world and yeah, stuff that might be going on. So this verse really encouraged me, and I just, whenever I'm like, I feel my thoughts start to spiral, I just am like, take every thought captive, make it obedient to Christ. I know the truth, and I need to place my thoughts on the truth and say no to the thoughts that are lies. And it's really hard, but having this verse that says take captive every thought, I just love that idea. So that is a favorite verse lately. Thanks for asking that, Celestia. That's a great question. Okay. Okay, Amy asks, do you have any must-read Christmas book recommendations? I'm gonna make a whole video. I actually already filmed it. It's gonna go up after this video. So my must-reads, I mean, it's the same ones. That's the sucky thing. Like, it's hard to find good Christmas books. But Catching Christmas, where is it? Favorite Christmas book of all time, but then also The White Christmas Inn by Colleen Wright. Those are my two favorites. Also Merry and Bright by W. Macomber. That's good. Yeah, those are the three best ones that I've read. Okay, Madison asked, do you have any siblings? Yes, I have 3 younger siblings. I have a younger brother and then 2 younger sisters. How did you come to know Jesus? I answered that. 3 places you'd like to see before you die. Okay, so Israel, I would really love to visit. New York would be pretty cool, not gonna lie. And Hawaii. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna substitute New York for Nashville because I said this in my last Q&A, but I have friends that live there and I really want to visit them. Technically they're in Franklin, but I could like go into Nashville too. Okay, so then she asked, concerning your spiritual walk, do you have something you specifically feel called to? And then she gave examples: teaching, worship, kids, teens, healing, deliverance. Yeah, this is a complicated one, right? Because like there can be callings to like do certain things, but then also just callings as like who you are as a person. And I think that's what she means. And to be honest, I'm still exploring that. I do think I have, it's so weird to say, but I think I have a gentleness when I talk to people about Jesus. I have a heart for particularly Christian women to really know the love of Jesus for them, because I need to know it, and I just want people to know how loved they are by God. And so whether that's through sharing the word, praying, just like being an encourager, I do feel like that is like like a good burden on my heart. Like I care about that so much. I really love to talk about Jesus with people. Like, so I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. I would love to ask the people that know me what they think like my giftings are. There's giftings I wish I had, but I have to just believe that God made me this way for a reason, and yeah, that he's gonna use me in good ways. So yeah, there's my answer for that. Okay, Felicia asks, what's your favorite movie and what's your favorite Christmas movie? Okay, favorite Christmas movie, I'm gonna have to think about that. But my favorite movie, I have a Christian one and a non-Christian one. Okay, my favorite Christian movie is Facing the Giants. I cry every time. Really good movie. And then my favorite non-Christian movie, I have a couple, but truly my favorite movie is The Day After Tomorrow. Dennis Quaid is in it. I love that movie because, first of all, I love natural disaster movies. And this one is like about global warming triggering an ice age. And I also like snow movies, like where snow is part of the natural disaster. So yeah, it is my favorite movie. I've watched it so many times. I really like survival type movies. So yeah, my favorite Christmas movie, it might be Christmas with the Kranks. That is such a funny movie. It might be Home Alone as well. Yeah. Oh, It's a Wonderful Life. Come on, that is such a good Christmas movie too. Yeah, so there's my top 3. Okay, last couple. These are from Emma. What is a book you consider your comfort read? I think it would be, let me get to it, Stay With Me. When I read this, both times I read this, there's something about it that just comforts me. Like, what can I say? I just love the main girl character so much. Not that she's relatable to me, because I'm not really like her at all, but I just feel some endearment to her. And her relationship with Sam is like just so cute. And really, I could read this over and over. I really enjoy it. Kind of weird, but yeah, like she's addicted to painkillers and he's kind of a grump, but they work well together. So yeah, this is my comfort read. And she asks, what are your favorite book tropes? Favorite book tropes. Well, within romance, I do like friends to lovers. I do like anonymous communication, but then meeting in real life and not knowing you were anonymously communicating, you know? What's that trope? I don't know. And then I also love a trope when a character discovers a power they didn't know they had, like it gets triggered by something, or they always like were good at something for some reason and it's because of the secret power that they have. I really like when that pops up. I really like it when a character who is like of noble status pretends to be like kind of a peasant status. I really like that. Yeah, those are my favorites. Oh, and she asks, if you could be best friends with any fictional character, who would you choose? Ooh. I kind of think I would choose, what's her name? Oh yeah, Genevieve, Jen. From Stay With Me? Let me think. Yeah, really, I do think I would pick Jen. I love her. Okay, Peter, I almost forgot to answer your question, but I remembered. Okay, so Peter asked kind of a complicated one, but here we go. So, in your view, what qualifies a work of fiction as Christian? And then he kind of gave a bunch of qualifiers. That is a really good question. So, my initial answer would be like, if a Christian publisher publishes it, I assume that it's Christian. But that's not actually true all the time. So, for me, Christian fiction is fiction that has Christians in it and has like a Christian morality message in it. So that doesn't mean that Christians who don't write like Christians into their books wait, what? I wouldn't say like, oh, this is Christian if it doesn't have Christians in it, just because I want it to be obvious. To be honest, I wouldn't say like, actually Charles Martin does this really well. Most of his books don't have Christians in them, but there's like such an obvious Christian like ethic and moral message in them, but I would not call them Christian fiction because I want people of other beliefs to read them and hopefully, like, you know, pick up on, you know, the hidden messages. So I guess if I was saying that, then yeah, it's Christian fiction, but I wouldn't label it that way just so that maybe it wouldn't turn some people away that could possibly enjoy reading it. So I would only call a book Christian fiction if there's Christians in the book. Just because, like, to me, Christian fiction is pointing towards the Christian faith, and if there's no Christians in the book, yes, it can still do that, but I would want it to be more explicit then. I think both are good. Like, I would want some fiction to not be so obviously Christian so that maybe non-Christians would read it and then, like, get the good message from it. So that's kind of what I would say, I think. But overall, like, yeah, if a Christian writes it and it, you know, is clean and good and whatever, has, you know, a Christian message in it, then it's Christian. If there's Christians in the book, I would call it Christian. If there's, like, kind of like just a subtle Christian morality in it, I would say that's Christian fiction, but I wouldn't also label it, like, publicly as Christian just so that maybe it would appeal to more people, hopefully. Does that make sense? I think I answered all of that. So anyways, thank you for asking that, Peter. That is the last question, I think. So we did it. Thank you so much for submitting all the questions, you guys. You made my birthday really special by doing this. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So have a great day. I did briefly film a time lapse of me setting up the Christmas decorations. So I will just put that at the very end. It's like 30 seconds, so it goes by really quick, but yeah, just for fun. So if you want to stay and watch that, you can. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.